Hello there, and welcome to the first episode of Café Con Jacob. I am your host, Jacob Guardado, and it is a pleasure to finally pour myself a cup of coffee and sit down with you today. Now, you might be asking yourself, Jacob, what are you doing? Jacob, what is this? You might be one of my friends. You might be one of the people out there who randomly popped in and said, let's see what this guy's got creating. But whoever you are, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're alive. And I can't explain to you how happy it is to have you listen to our voices and our stories here in this world. This is Café Con Jacob, a podcast about voice, community, family, laughter, and if anything, hope. So pour yourself a cup, sit down somewhere, and if you're driving, find that happy spot and enjoy your coffee with me today. Now, that's a good cup of joe if I ever had one. Mm. I'm enjoying today a very simple cup of coffee, mushroom coffee. It's from the Asian market here in the city where I live in, and it's a nice pick me up after a long week. Now, it's the first episode of Café Con Jacob, and I'm just here to begin things off right. Now, this podcast is not your mommy or daddy's podcast. This is not a religious, motivational, we can do this kind of podcast. This is a podcast that is just about connection. And I bet there's so many podcasts that are about connection, life, choices, the things we do, the things we love. But I think I'm just here to basically begin something to serve the future of the world in whatever way we can. Now, who am I? Well, if you don't know me, my full name is Jacob Antonio Guardado. I was born and raised in the lovely Mission Hills of California. I am currently living in Florida, and I am a theater teacher, a devout Catholic, and well, I could kill you more and more, but why don't we keep the mystery going to save some time? Now, I'm happier here, like I said before. I'm happy you're sitting down with me, enjoying a cup of coffee wherever you are. Maybe you're having tea. Maybe it's an energy drink. Maybe it's water. Hydration is key. But wherever you are, I'm happy you're here. And I'm happy you've stopped by to have some Café Con Jacob. Now, part of me is creating this podcast because I want there to be a record of voices of all the people in my life who I've met or who I'm destined to meet, but also a place where we can laugh, cry, hope, dream, and in some cases, cry. Whatever it is, we'll see what happens. But a little bit about me to get it going, right? You know my name. You know what I do. Now, if you didn't know this about me, I love theater. Ooh, I love to act. I love to sing. And I love to dance. And they're one of the few things in life that actually bring me genuine joy. And that's what today's subject's about. Joy. Or choosing joy in a world that sometimes tells us not to, but we have to, if that makes any sense. But a question I always got growing up or wherever I worked, wherever I've come from is, Jacob, why are you so cheery? Or Jacob, you're always smiling. Jacob, you have this like gravitas about yourself, or whatever it is. Personally, I don't see it. Personally, I'm not like the one like, well, if you only did this, if you only, I really don't know what I'm doing differently than anybody else. But I've come around to the idea that every day I have to make a choice, no matter how hard my day can be. But it's hard sometimes. But the choice is to be happy and to spread joy. I am one of eight kids, so, I come from a big family, and I remember laughing our nights away, and my mom and my grandma just cracking up, my dad boisterous laugh he would have, and all of my siblings just cracking up, this joyful spirit we were all together. It's been a while since we've had that, but I hold that with me and it gives me joy. But in the real world and in my day-to-day life, I think I choose happiness because it's the one thing that will get me through a lot of the drudgery, a lot of what sucks about being human sometimes. But hey, we're only human. Or so I like to say. You're going to hear me say that a lot. You're going to see me hear a but, and we're only human, and it is what it is, and all these things. Bear with me. I'm still learning, and I'm only 26. But I'm here because I really don't have an answer to that question people have always asked me. Why are you happy? I think a little part of me just wants to spend a little more joy in this world than leave a scar. I saw a tune comment about, it's called like Look into the Void, and it's a saber-toothed lion, and they're realizing they're passing away, they're fading away, and they're kind of frightened, but they find some sincerity in the idea that I did good, but I didn't leave a scar, and that's okay. That doesn't mean we didn't have an impact on this world. It just meant I didn't hurt anybody intentionally in this world. Now, personally speaking, I am a devout Catholic Christian, and, you know, we're taught to pray the Lord during the good and the bad. That you can't just be thankful during the good times, but also you have to be thankful during the bad times. And right now in my life, it's a medium time, but it's the growing up part of life I think I'm going through right now. I always think to myself, I wake up, I say, Lord, thank you for waking me up this morning, and I do what I got to do. And I try to grasp onto one joyful thought. Oh, okay, today is Monday. Cool, start of the week. Today's Friday, last day of the week for the work week. Or, ooh, today's Wednesday. Ooh, I get to go my young adult group. Or, ooh, today's Monday. Ooh, I get to go to my support group. Or, oh my gosh, today's Thursday. I get to sing today in my choir. Like random tidbits. Like what kept me going this far in my lifetime. And it's what keeps me going forward. And I think the choice of choosing joy over depression or sadness or anger can sometimes save you a lot of grief and a lot of pain. Um, don't get me wrong. I am no saint, nor do I declare myself to be one. Nor do I want to say, well, look at me. I can do it, so can you. It's hard, guys. It's really hard. But it's possible, if anything. I look at my life 2 years ago when I was going down a pit of despair and grief and sorrow. And I can think of the mornings I'd wake up and I'd say, there's nothing to be thankful about. Life is the same. Life is drudgery. I only live to work. I don't work to live. I was surviving, 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 surviving. And don't get me wrong, the ideas came into my head, those dark ideas we all get at a young age. But I didn't want to cause grief anymore. So I pivoted. Now, pivoting is like you taking a quick change. If you're a theater person, it could be a quick turn to the left. If you are in traffic, you're pivoting to the right or left. It's like driving, like a right or left turn. I didn't do a right or left turn. I did a whole 180 turn. I decided to leave America, go to a different country for a little bit, figure some stuff out there, only to lose a little bit of my mind and come back to America and start again. And look how far I've come. I like to say I've come pretty far. I like to pat myself in the back, but it's mostly the grace of God that got me this far, and to the thanks of a lot of people who were kind, generous, understanding, would listen to me and all my crazy ideas, who would let me be me and not make me feel bad, who instinctively allowed me to be the biggest, boldest version of myself, and they didn't say, well, Jacob, you're too much. And I know, personally speaking, I can be a lot. I have a memory of, me picking this joyful attitude sometimes and people being like, ugh, this guy's always happy. This guy's always smiling. And I'm like, well, why frown when we're alive today? Don't get me wrong. In those moments, I was going through my biggest depressive episode ever. But I just didn't want the world to see me crumble. The Lord saw me crumble and fall, how I drive home in despair, emptiness, how I'd put on music that would make me happy, would only fill me with more sadness. But I kept going forward because I knew at some point, at some day, the figgy make it attitude might work. Did it work? No. But did it help me grow and mold myself through the fire? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And choosing every day to wake up and pick joy, ooh, it's a struggle beyond compare. I don't know about you, but it's hard being human sometimes. And I think of the joy of leaving a mark on this world of happiness that I can say when I die, I left more good in this life than bad in this life, but not for me, but for everybody else. Whatever happens to me, screw it. But as long as the people I loved had a little bit more joy, smile a little bit more, felt a little bit more connected, they felt heard, seen, known, then my choice of picking joy every day was worth it. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm on fire every day for the Lord. But I'm also on fire every day for people who need a voice. And this podcast is what it's about. It's Café Con Jacob. Give me a minute while I take a sip. Mushroom coffee. Never gets old. But how do I wrap this up for you? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing half the time in my life, but all I know is that I'm constantly choosing joy because at the end of my life, I would have left more joy here. And don't get me wrong, I've left some scars in this world, and I regret them wholeheartedly. I'm not perfect. And this podcast is here for me to record the good, the bad, the ugly. And I hope if you're hearing this podcast, maybe a piece of you is like, okay, I want to pick joy. If just for a millisecond, choose to be happy. It's hard to choose to be happy. But just for a millisecond, choose it. I think happiness is a choice. I might be wrong. But I hope on the next episode, we're a little bit happier. And if we're not, okay. No harm, no foul. I do hope you have a wonderful day, mi gente. And I hope that other coffee, water, tea, whatever you're sipping on, gets you through the workday. Or the weekend, whenever you're hearing this. I adore you all. And this has been Café con Jacob.